Commission meeting. This meeting is being held via web meeting due to COVID. Members of the public may participate by following instructions listed on the agenda. You may also view and listen to the meeting on television, city website, and YouTube. Following the roll call, during the summary of hearing procedures, we'll review how the public may provide comment during today's session. Commissioner Lardinois. Commissioner Ahluwalia. Commissioner Barocio.
Here.
Commissioner Cantrell.
Here.
Commissioner Casey.
Here.
Commissioner Garcia.
Here.
Commissioner Ornelas Wise.
Here.
Commissioner Rosario.
Here.
Commissioner Young.
Here.
And I'll just follow up, Commissioner Lardinois. Here. Commissioner Ahluwalia. Okay, we have a quorum. The procedure for this hearing is as follows. After a staff report, applicants and appellants may make a 5-minute presentation. City staff will call out names of the public who identify the items they want to speak on. You may identify yourself by the raised hand feature in the web meeting or click *9 on your phone. As your name is called, city staff will unmute you, and each speaker will have up to 2 minutes. Speakers using a translator will have double the time. After the public testimony, the applicant and appellant may make closing remarks for an additional 5 minutes. Planning commissioners may ask questions of the speakers. Staff will unmute the speaker to respond to the commissioner. The public hearing will then be closed, and the Planning Commission will take action on the item. The Planning Commission may request staff to respond to the public testimony, ask staff questions, and discuss the item. If you challenge these land use decisions in court, you may be limited to raising only those issues you or someone else raised at this public hearing or in written correspondence delivered to the city prior to the public hearing. Planning Commission's actions on rezonings, pre-zonings, general plan amendments, and code amendments is advisory to the City Council. The City Council will hold public hearings on these items. Section 20.120.400 of the Municipal Code provides procedures for legal protests to the City Council on rezonings and pre-zonings. The Planning Commission's actions on conditional use permits is appealable to the City Council in accordance with Section 20.100.220 of the Municipal Code. So we now will call to order and remind Planning Commission and the public to follow our code of conduct at the meeting. This includes commenting on the specific agenda item only and addressing the full body. Speakers who engage in a conversation that is abusive or failure to comply with the code of conduct that may disturb, disrupt, or impede the meeting may be removed from the meeting. This meeting of the Planning Commission will now come to order. Our first item is public comment. This is for anyone of the public to comment on some item related to municipal government, however, something that is not on this Planning Commission agenda. And the commission cannot take any formal action on any public comment. So staff, are there any hands for public comment?
We do have Mike Sodergren.
Great.
Mike, you are unmuted. Go ahead and unmute your device.
Yes, first of all, Commissioner and Commissioner and the rest of the commission, Happy New Year, and thank you for your service to the city of San Jose. I just had a sort of a generic request as a part of the process of having applicants in District 8 and 10 apply for the open city council seats. There was a couple of comments made at a community forum about the Planning Commission not having, sort of being at the back end of the process. And I just would like to suggest that the commission in the future make a request to have something like the Historic Landmarks Commission has, some sort of early referral on items that are of concern to the Planning Commission. I hear comments all the time from the commissioners about, is there a place for young children in high density developments? You know, is the tree canopy good, right? You know, are we preserving our historic places as well as we should? And it seems with the very diverse and very talented planning commission that you have, that bringing some of that expertise to subcommittees that are reviewing projects well in advance of, sort of final recommendations relative to entitlement might make a lot of sense. And so anyway, I just want to thank you for your service and just suggest that maybe more of you would be better earlier. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. We're now on to deferrals. We do have an item A, HP 21001, that is a request to defer from staff. Do we have a motion? I think I heard something.
Yeah, I was saying, let's make that motion.
Okay, I appreciate that. You come on, your volume's a little low, so just FYI. And is there a second on that? For the deferral of item A3.
1 second.
Fantastic. And then I see we have a hand, Commissioner Rosario.
Yes, I just had a question for staff. When does staff recommend, or how does staff decide when to defer our review of projects like these, particularly as it relates to the Historic Landmarks Commission? So I guess I understand that we typically go later, but is that always the case? I suppose is my question.
So Commissioner Rosario, that is not always the case because the municipal code does not require any sequence. But in some cases, if it makes sense and some information is being requested that is still pending, we can wait or defer an item. But the municipal code does not require any sequence.
Okay.
Okay. Any comments on this deferral? I'll go through the roll call. Commissioner Lardenois,
Yes.
Commissioner Ahluwalia, Commissioner Barroso, Commissioner Cantrell,
Yes.
Commissioner Casey,
Yes.
Commissioner Garcia,
Yes.
Commissioner Ornelas Wise,
Yes.
Commissioner Rosario,
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to the consent calendar, we have the minutes as well as CP 22009, CP 22019. Are there any members of the public that have raised hands on this item?
Mike has his hand raised. Mike, which item are you raising your hand for?
CP 2209.
Okay. So we will remove that item. Is there a motion to approve the minutes and the other CP 2209, the monopole? Oh no, that's a water treatment thing. Okay. Is there a motion for that?
So moved.
That's a so moved. And is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. And Commissioner Young, is this a comment on what we're going to vote on now or the item that's been pulled?
Thanks, Chair. I just want to confirm, I wanted to pull item 4B. Is that what's being pulled?
Yeah, so this would be a fine time to have a question on it, and we can just keep it at the same motion unless something comes up. So feel free to ask a question.
May I ask who seconded the motion, please?
I'm going to give Lardenois the motion, and the second was
It was Garcia.
Garcia. Great. Okay, back to Commissioner Young.
Thank you, Chair. So if we're going to discuss the item, I'll save my questions for then.
Well, we do have a motion on the floor for the minutes in this item. So this would be an appropriate time to ask a question on item B.
Okay, I'm sorry, Chair, I'm confused. So we're pulling item 4B off the consent calendar to discuss it separately, correct?
Well, we do have a motion to approve the minutes and item B. And we could you can ask questions and decide your vote on that motion, or we could have requested motion be withdrawn, only do the minutes and go to item B and then item C, which is already pulled.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I would prefer if we pull item 4B and discuss it separately, if we can do that.
Fair enough. So the maker of the motion care to withdraw and just do the minutes?
Yeah, that's fine.
Great. So then you make a new motion if you'd be so kind.
Sure. So I'll make a motion solely to approve item 4A.
Great. And a second?
Second.
Thank you. Commissioner Lardon-Law,
Yes.
Commissioner Barosio, Commissioner Cantrell,
Yes.
Commissioner Casey,
Yes.
Commissioner Garcia,
Yes.
Commissioner Ornelas Wise,
yes,
Commissioner Rosario,
Yes.
Commissioner Young,
Yes.
myself, yes. And then now we'll go on to item B, Commissioner Young.
Thank you, Chair. My question on this item has to do with the two trees that are going to be removed. These are very, very large native trees. One is 75 inches, one is 38 inches in circumference. And the finding is that they can be removed because of need for a new driveway. I need more information on that from the applicant. I do not see a site plan as part of the staff report. So I would just like to get some clarity from the applicant as to the need to remove these two trees and the need for a new driveway.
Any response from staff by chance?
Good evening. This is Cameron G with, hold on, let me start my video. Sorry about that. Good evening, commissioners. This is Cameron G, Planning Division staff. So yes, the project includes the removal of two trees. One of them is ordinance size, which are trees that are greater than 38 inches in circumference. That ordinance size oak tree is currently located within the footprint of a proposed 26-foot wide driveway, ingress egress driveway to the site. I believe it would allow for easier access to the water treatment facility in case there is any sort of maintenance that would occur on site. We do have the applicant, Scott Hoffman, available to answer any additional questions. So if we could move Scott to the panelist side, that would be great.
And Scott, when you can speak so we can hear you.
And if I can just clarify real quickly, if the applicant could provide a site plan, that would be really helpful.
Scott, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, Scott Hoffman, San Jose Water Company.
Okay, so you heard the questions. Please provide a reply here.
Well, it's a tight site. We're building a new structure and we have trucks coming into the site. And it would be difficult to turn them around. We're running out of space. And that's the reason for the new driveway. And the tree needs to be removed. It would be hard to move the driveway over and try to avoid the tree. If you look at the site plan, it's pretty much full. So.
And Mike, do you have a site plan to share? Scott, I mean.
I don't have one.
Hold it up.
I can't.
I have a site plan that I can
Yeah, that would be
share my
Okay,
screen.
great. And Scott, did it ever come up for debate? Hey, we could make the driveway, curved or something? I mean, my guess is that was discussed at one point briefly, perhaps.
I don't remember discussing that. It's an in and out type of driveway. You drive in one end and you can drive out the other side.
Okay, site plan is there.
So just to clarify, the new proposed driveway is on the west side of the project site.
So could you show us like visually where the driveway is?
So it's if you can see my mouse.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the new driveway. The existing driveway is on the east side of the site, approximately right here at the eastern edge.
Okay. Commissioner Young, do you have a comment here?
A question, yes. So why is it not possible to use the existing driveway that you already have and not remove the trees?
I believe it'd be very difficult to turn a truck around, to move, to drive in. You'd have to have some type of 3-point turn. It just doesn't. It's not a very efficient way to access the site.
Okay, are you? Give me a little bit of information about the current use of the site. Do you have trucks accessing the site currently?
We're gonna have more, it's gonna be more intense use with this water treatment facility. Larger trucks more often. You know, the right now, the building we're building here isn't there. And we're building a building that kind of it's taking up space. And then the stormwater treatment measures you're seeing on each side of it, that takes up more space. There's just not much left to do driveway improvements.
Okay, and just to get back to the chair's question, did you look at alternatives on the buildings and the driveway that might have allowed the trees to remain?
Is that a question for San Jose Water?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
We didn't, this is the first time it's come up.
Okay. Frankly, that's not a great answer. But what you're, so if I can understand what you're saying is for the operation to operate the way you'd like it to, you need a driveway that goes through. I understand that. And there's no way to do that without removing these trees. Is that correct?
That's my understanding, yes.
Okay. So I have one additional question for staff, and that is, there's a mention of paying an in lieu tree replacement fee.
I'll tell them that. Okay, all right.
Someone needs to be on mute, but go on, Commissioner.
There's mention of an in lieu tree replacement fee that will be paid. And I'd like clarity. Does that mean they're not actually going to replace any trees on the site? They're just going to pay a fee to the city?
Yes, that is correct. So the applicant has agreed to pay the in lieu replacement tree for the 8 15-gallon trees that would be required to be planted as a replacement for both of the 2 trees to be removed.
Okay, so again, I just want to make sure I understand what we're going to be voting on here. We're going to be removing 2 very large native oak trees. And the applicant is going to be paying the city an in lieu fee, but not going to be replacing any trees at all on the site. Is that correct?
Scott, is that correct?
That is correct, yes. And if I may, an engineer in our team would like to talk. His name's Frank Dew. I think he can explain the in and out, the 2 driveways a little bit better than I can.
Frank, on your phone, is that what you're going to do? Hold up the phone or something?
No, Frank Dew, he should be on the call. He said,
Okay.
yeah, somebody has to let him
Have to
talk.
Promote Frank. Frank, you are a panelist. Let's see if we can hear you. Frank, it looks like he came and went. Or hang on, panelist. There's Frank. I see him there.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you, Frank. Go for it.
Yeah, sorry. So yeah, I was not sure how do I speak. So I was
No problem.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So I'm the engineer, project engineer on this project. So I can give you a further explanation why these 2 trees needs to be removed, because this new building, we're using that to service the water quality purpose, and then we will generate on-site hypochlorite solutions using salt. So we have an on-site salt storage tank. So we need to deliver salt, like a 40-ton salt, every now and then. So that will be a huge truck. Is a big flatbed truck, you know, deliver 40-ton salt, you know, at one time, so that the turning radius for that truck is so big, and then there will be no way for the truck to coming and out through that one gate. So that's why we kind of like create a drive-through, like a drive-through way, so that coming from one entrance, you know, going in near the building, so they can offload the salt, and then going out from the other entrance. So that's the whole entire purpose, to serve the delivery of the required material for operations. So that unfortunately, you know, those 2 trees are in the way, so we are going to remove those 2 trees. So we're trying to, you know, protect everything else, you know, as much as we can, so that those 2 trees unfortunately in the way. So we will need to make that driveway wide enough so that that big vehicle can swing around, you know, inside and outside, so that be safely. So that is the reason. So we have to have that second entrance, and also, you know, those 2 trees needs to be removed.
Thank you,
Regarding
Frank.
the question.
Thank you,
I'm
Frank.
sorry.
Just stick around if there's questions.
Okay.
Commissioner Young, if I may, I just go to Commissioner Ornelas Wise and come back if there's a further question. Commissioner
Okay,
Ornelas
sounds
Wise.
good.
Cameron, can you pull up that site plan again and zoom in and show us that closer?
Yeah, absolutely. Just give me one second.
I wanted to take a closer look at the existing driveway.
Yeah, let me see if there's a better sheet that might be a little bit more clear.
Cameron, it's fair to say at some point staff reviewed the details of the site plan, and you know, it's coming with a planning staff recommendation.
Correct.
Okay, Commissioner Ornelas Wise.
Yeah. So Cameron, if you could help, it looks like the original driveway, if you could point with your cursor, that's the original driveway, but it didn't circle around. So now it's becoming a two entrance driveway. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So the existing driveway is on the east edge, and the proposed driveway is right above this darker gray area on the western side.
And given the size of the lot, it didn't look like they could do like a truck turnaround and go out the original driveway exit.
Correct.
And there was no other place to put the driveway where there was trees that were maybe smaller in size?
So there are trees that are, let's see, they're all roughly around the same size. These trees that are lining East Gish Road. I don't know if the engineer Frank had considered, you know, the different turning radiuses of different, you know, of the, you know, if the driveway was located further to the west or anything like that. Frank, if that was something that you had looked into with regards to, it does appear that, you know, there are trees that are pretty evenly spaced out. So it looks like, you know, 2 would be removed no matter where this driveway would be placed, since it is a 26-foot wide driveway.
Yeah, that's correct. You know, to the west side, you know, that's the property boundary, and our neighbors, the property is now belong to us. And you know, just the frontage, you know, that's the access, you know, to Gish Road. And if we have to, you know, exit from the west side, I will be entering someone else's property. So I guess, you know, unfortunately, you know, that the frontage, you know, there's a row of the trees with similar size, you know, maybe slightly different, you know. Those are the other locations that we can, you know, enter and exit. Yeah, there's no space for a big truck to turn around inside and coming back from the same entrance.
Thank you. Cameron, and besides just the tree replacement, is there any additional landscape conditions of approval that were part of this application?
There are none. So the tree replacement fees would be required to be paid prior to the issuance of the building permit.
Yeah, I mean, of course, we all want to preserve trees, but in this case, given that they're really industrial-like vehicles, I think safety comes first. So I'm okay with it as it is.
Okay.
Of course, I would love to
Commissioner
preserve the
Ellis-Myers.
trees. Yeah.
Yep. Back to Commissioner Young.
So thank you, Mr. Dew, for clarifying that. That's really helpful. And I understand that if you're bringing in larger trucks, you need a drive-through. My question for staff is this. So on the tree removal policy, so we're removing 2 very large trees here, which is necessary for the operation. Got it. Why are we not having the applicant replace some smaller trees actually on the site to kind of make up for the screening that they had before, rather than doing the in lieu fee?
Great. Staff?
My understanding is that the existing site is pretty heavily paved. It would be difficult to provide those trees that would grow to be a large the same size that these trees to be removed would be. So because of those existing site conditions, the applicant is looking to pay the in lieu fee instead of making an effort to pull a pavement, replant on site if there is any room. I'm not sure whether or not that has been considered by the applicant's engineering team.
Yeah, we have considered that, and looks like the site is already pretty much developed and it's all packed. So you see the proposed driveway then to accommodate the big truck coming in and out, and the building and the pipes on the east side of the site, and there's existing a treatment stormwater treatment basin is on the west side, so that, and it's pretty much very tight now, so it's hard to find a space maybe for a small tree, then once it's grow bigger, so it potentially will impact our facilities over there once the trees grow bigger. So that's another consideration. That's why we rather cooperate with the city and pay the in lieu fees instead of plant trees outside.
Thank you, Frank. Commissioner Young?
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you. So the final question I have from staff is the tree in lieu fees, do those go into a special fund that is used by the city to plant city trees?
I'll defer to other staff if I'm incorrect here, but I do believe that they are used by the Parks Department for the planting of and maintenance of new trees in the future.
And that is correct, Commissioner Young.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Commissioner Young, would you like to make a motion?
Actually, I'd like to just point out one thing if you got a minute.
Hang on a second, Scott.
Okay.
Commissioner Young, did you want to make a motion tonight or defer not to have a motion?
Yeah, yes, I'll make a motion that we approve the staff recommendations on item 4B.
Is there a second? Who's the second?
Lardenois.
Outstanding. Scott, did you still want to comment?
Well, I just want to make a comment that we are on the plan. There are 2 new street tree wells, so there will be 2 new trees along the frontage. And
Thanks,
those
Scott.
2 boxes you see between the 2 driveways. So we're planting 2 trees.
Great. I think there is one raised hand from the public on this item. I do see. Is that correct, Mike? Or do you want to speak on this item?
Hey, Mike, you are unmuted.
Yes, thank you, Pierre, Luigi. Would it be possible to bring up a Google Earth? I had 2 concerns about this subject and why I asked it to be pulled off of the consent calendar. First of all, 75 inches appears to be a lot bigger circumference than any of the trees that are along East Gish. That's one. That's 6 feet, right? Around. And then second of all, it doesn't appear to me that that there would be any limitation on putting trees along the clover leaf, the sort of northeast clover leaf of 17 and 101. So I'm not really clear why new trees couldn't be added, particularly since those areas are, right next to where there's drainage off of the roads. So I am all in support of San Jose Water and giving, serving us up the fountain of life. But I just wonder if you could get a Google Earth up and just look at it before you vote on this, because I don't see a 75-inch circumference tree. And I don't see why. The other thing, why couldn't we, given the carbon absorption of a tree of that size, why there couldn't be a smaller, maybe 2 truckloads as opposed to a larger truck? I'm assuming it comes from Redwood City, and it sounds like it's an irregular need to, replenish the salt. Certainly an extra trip down 101 to bring salt wouldn't out capacity the tree to absorb that extra carbon. So thank you.
Thank you, Mike. And extra greenhouse gases from that extra trip, but that's just one comment. We have a motion, we have a second. I've looked at this parcel on Google Maps. It's a very compact parcel within an industrial area. I understand we have to have water infrastructure, and we'll get some other trees planted out of it. I appreciate Commissioner Young's attention to detail, but I'm going to be supporting the motion. Any other comments, or should we go to vote? Okay, Commissioner Lardenois.
Yes.
Commissioner Barroso.
Yes.
Commissioner Cantrell.
Yes.
Commissioner Casey.
Yes.
Commissioner Garcia.
Yes.
Commissioner Ornelas Wise.
Yes.
Commissioner Rosario.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Myself. And we'll post the vote, and then we'll move on to item C, CP 22-019. This has been pulled by a member of the public that wishes to speak on that, and I believe that's Mike again. So Mike, staff have.
Okay, Mike, you are muted.
Hey, thank you for the opportunity to comment on this, but it was just the first one. Thank you.
Oh, okay, great. So no comment on this one.
I said
So
B.
back to
I
the
said
Planning Commission on item C. Are there any questions on this item? Don't see any. Is there a motion to approve this item?
So moved.
Is that a Lardenois motion?
Yes.
Casual, gets the job done though. Who's the second?
Second,
Is that Casey?
Rosario.
Oh, hey, Rosario. Okay, great. So we have a motion, we have a second. I don't see any comments on this one. We'll go to the roll call. Commissioner Lardenois,
Yes.
Commissioner Barroso,
Yes.
Commissioner Cantrell,
Yes.
Commissioner Casey,
Yes.
Commissioner Garcia,
Yes.
Commissioner Ornelas Wise,
Yes.
Commissioner Rosario,
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Staff will display the vote. We don't have any items on 5, public hearing. We don't have any items on item 6. Item 7, staff, is there a report from City Council? 7A?
No, not this time.
We don't have any business on B, C, or D. Any other comments? Commissioner Lardenois?
Yeah, question for staff. I believe at our last meeting, it was mentioned that we may be returning to in-person meetings in March. Just curious if there's any further information on that.
No further information from planning's end, but city attorney is here and they may have additional information planning doesn't have.
I wish I did. No information, but hopefully we'll find out soon. I'm curious myself.
All right, thank you. Yeah, looking forward to it whenever it happens.
Fair enough, but we got till March. Commissioner Barroso?
Hey, I was having Zoom technical difficulties on not the first vote, but the second one. Is there an opportunity to cast my vote on that? Or is it
So you weren't, when the roll was called, you had technical difficulties, you weren't able to cast a vote, and you'd like
Right.
to record a vote now?
Yes.
I think they recorded him saying yes.
Yeah, you're recorded saying
Oh,
yes. I think
Okay,
staff
good.
will
Yeah,
know.
I was trying to, awesome,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yes.
Very good. It's trying to avoid the whole procedure purpose. Commissioner Nellis Wise?
I just have a quick question when it comes down to tree replacement and people paying in lieu fee. So I'm just trying to follow where the money goes, right? And like, for example, in that particular issue, because Gish Road, there's a lot of heavy industrial or commercial operations there. Obviously, it would be nice to see a little bit more beautification through landscaping. But who dictates really where that money gets? I mean, if that money is coming out of that, like, zip code or street, that money gets put back in that same community.
Yes, staff, is the money allocated to a citywide fund? Or like based on the Quimby Act, does it have to be spent within a radius? Like the trees have to be planted within a radius of the site?
So Commissioner Nellis Wise and Mr. Chair, the money as it is right now goes into a citywide fund, which is administered by DOT. There has been an audit report quite recently that went to City Council about 2 weeks ago. Council has actually required staff to go back to City Council in a couple of months with additional recommendations that they do. So we will be seeing some changes to the code and how the money is actually being spent. So as it is now, the current code requirement is what exists, but in the near future, there's going to be changes and some of these questions will definitely be answered.
Thank you. I'm glad to hear that.
Commissioner, thank you. Commissioner Larnois, another question?
Oh, no, just forgot to ever lower my hand.
No worries. All right, everyone, have a great day. Good luck, George, and see you in March, everyone.
Good evening, everyone.
Yeah.
Good night.